This course is about how to begin using the Outlook calendar. Before I can use the calendar, however, I have to find it. To get to my Outlook calendar from anywhere else in Outlook, I click the Calendar button right here in the navigation pane. Let's take a quick look at the calendar workspace. The calendar grid is here in the middle. The navigation pane and the to-do bar are right where they usually are. Here at the top is the calendar version of the ribbon, with controls and commands for working with the calendar on the various tabs. And at the bottom is the daily task list. I can control whether and how each of these areas surrounding the calendar grid is displayed by using these controls in the Layout group on the View tab, and by using the Minimize/Maximize button for the ribbon up here in the corner. For the moment, we're going to focus on the calendar grid itself. I have quite a few choices about how my calendar appears in Outlook. First, I can choose how many days to display at a time. To do this, I use the controls in the Arrangement group, here on the View tab. I can view just one day of my calendar at a time, or just my regular work week, or the whole week, including non-working days, or even a whole month. And then I can view any range of dates by clicking and dragging to select them here in the Date Navigator calendar on the to-do bar. Watch. And no matter which day or days or parts of days are currently displayed in my main grid, I can immediately display the week that begins with today by clicking the Next 7 Days button here in the Go To group on the Home tab. Using this timescale control, I can also change the relative size of my calendar grid. The default setting is to show time in 30-minute segments, but I can reduce the magnification by moving down to 60-minute segments, or increase it all the way up to 5-minute segments so that I can add more visible detail to my appointments and meetings. To make sure that my regular working hours and the days of my regular work week are correctly identified in the calendar, I click this little dialog box launcher in the lower right corner of the Arrange group, and then make any adjustments that I need here. I normally only work Monday through Thursday, so I'll uncheck Friday, and my work day starts at 7 and ends at 4, so I'll make those changes too. Once you've found your calendar and defined your work week and your working hours, you can start making and modifying entries. Of course, sometimes the entry I want to make or modify isn't currently visible on the screen. If it's just that the entry I want has scrolled out of view, I can use the scroll bars here to move up and down. These little Click for More Appointments arrows are a clue that there are entries that are not currently visible. All I have to do to see those entries is click the arrow. And whichever calendar view I'm currently using, I can always move forward or backward 1 unit at a time, 1 day, 1 week, or 1 month at a time, whichever way I'm currently displaying my calendar, by using these arrows. Often, though, the fastest way to go to a particular date is by using the Go to Date dialog box, which I can open either by clicking this dialog box launcher down here in the corner of the Go To group, or by using the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-G. In the dialog box, I can click the date I want, and even select the view I want to display it in, if I happen to want a different view from my current one. Another way of moving to another date is to use the Date Navigator. Watch. When I'm ready to return to today, all I have to do is click the Today button. There are 4 main types of calendar entries: appointments, meetings, all-day events, and tasks. Let me give you a quick introduction to each type. An appointment is an event that I schedule for myself only. It may be a one-time event, a visit to the dentist, for example, or it may be a recurring event, like the half-hour that I set aside at the beginning of every workday to catch up on unresolved email and other miscellaneous tasks. In either case, an appointment is made only for myself, and it shows up only on my own calendar. If anybody else is invited, it's a meeting. When I send meeting invites to others, a tentative meeting appears on their Outlook calendars. When I receive an invite from someone else, a tentative meeting appears on my calendar. and the invite appears in my inbox. I can choose to accept it, or to decline it, or, if I'm not quite sure yet, to accept it only tentatively. Until I respond, it appears on my calendar as a tentative meeting. If you're scheduling an appointment or a meeting that fills the entire 24-hour period of one or more days, that's called an all-day event. It's easy to add an all-day event to your calendar. I'll be showing you how in a later video in this course. The three types of calendar entries I've just described all have in common that they can affect my free busy information in Outlook. For each of them, I can choose to specify the time as free, tentative, busy, or out of office. Tasks, on the other hand, may have a start date or a due date, or both, and I can set reminders for them, but even when they have any of those properties, they don't have any direct effect on my free busy information. Still, tasks are closely related to the calendar. To begin with, while tasks don't appear by default on the main calendar grid, they do show up in the daily task list and on the to-do bar. And if I want to get a task onto my main calendar grid, for example, if I want to set some time aside to work on a particular task, all I have to do is drag that task to where I want to block out the time on my calendar, and an appointment is automatically created in that place, which I can open and edit as I would any other appointment. Before we finish this first video, let's look at how you can set up an appointment in your calendar. To create an appointment, I usually select the time on the calendar by clicking or clicking and dragging to select the time I want. Then I click New Appointment here in the New group on the Home tab, which opens this new appointment form. I type a subject for the appointment, specify a location if that's appropriate, make any adjustments I want to the start time or end time of the appointment, and add any other notes I want to include. When I'm done, I click the Save and Close button here, and there's the placeholder for my new appointment. A couple of additional notes. No matter which time scale I'm working in, the selections on these drop-down menus are always in half-hour increments. To specify a time other than those listed, just change the text in the boxes manually, like this. Also, I can set up any appointment to be a recurring one. That is, one that occurs at a regular interval, every Monday at 10 a.m., for example, or the first Thursday of every month at 2 in the afternoon. We'll talk about setting up recurrence in a later video in this course. Next up, meetings, appointments that include people other than myself.